Hi Lisa, hi Resa. It's great to have you here today. My dear Israeli buddy, and we met in Tantra Retreat when we were there for Green Tara certification in Goa. So this is going to be a conversation on how women must express their desires when it comes to sensuality and sexuality, and how Tantra plays a pivotal role in helping women express themselves fully. So, welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this platform. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Same here. And could you tell us a bit about yourself with your introduction, and then we'll go ahead with some questions?
Sure thing. Okay, so as you mentioned, I live in Israel, but I'm originally from the Caribbean, from the West Indies, for most of your Indian audience who would know where that is. So I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, but I've lived in Israel for 20 years. I have four kids and a partner that I live with. We do a lot of traveling, so we're just in between India and Israel right now. And yeah, so what I do really as my profession as well is that I'm helping women actually figure out that they can monetize their skills and talent and helping them really understand that they can make money by themselves with what they already have, with the resources they already have. So it's something I'm very passionate about because I think women's true identity and their true opening up, especially when you talk about sexuality and stuff, also comes when they have financial independence. I don't think a woman who's dependent on a man could really be free. She needs to figure out how can she manage herself financially first before she delves into all of those
Sure.
different aspects of her being. So this is something that I am investing a lot of time in and helping these women get to that stage of their lives.
Brilliant. That's really nice to know. We'll go ahead with the first question. So, here is it. How how you got introduced to Neo-Tantra?
Well, that's a good question. My partner actually introduced me to it. It's not something I was totally into because for me it was, when you hear about Tantra, you hear it's all about sex and, it feels like a big orgy that's happening, which, I've been brought up very Catholic. So it's not something that I was interested in doing. But, he experienced both Tantra and Neo-Tantra, and he was like, you know what? I really think you should investigate this more. And he found something that was a safe space for me because we did try going to Tantra festivals together. We went to a couple in Greece and stuff, and it just didn't gel with me because I did not like the vibes of the community there. But he eventually came across Mohini, where we met in her Wonder Woman festival. We met in Green Tara, but she has these women only festivals really. So she has
Yes.
Wonder Woman that's actually coming up soon, and Green Tantra. And I loved that space because it was women only. I needed a safe space that I would feel, comfortable expressing myself and my truth and not feeling like I'm some kind of prize or some kind of, you know, nugget or sweetie for these guys to go crazy off in these Tantra festivals. So after the introduction, I saw her page, I saw the work around Green Tara, and because it was like a teacher's training as well, I thought this would be good for me because, again, as I shared earlier, having the passion to help women be financially independent, I realized a lot of the blocks that prevent them from financial abundance has to do with their sexuality being blocked as well. It's not just that they don't know how to be in abundant, but they don't know how to be abundant in all aspects of their lives. And what I realized when I looked at the page at the time was it would help me incorporate some of the lessons and values that are being taught in that type of tantra to help women unblock themselves. So this is how I got introduced to it. So we met at the Green Tara. We both went to that Green Tara teachers training, and for me it was life changing
Yes, we.
because I thought I was going to get lessons and stuff to help others, but instead it helped me a lot. I didn't realize how much blockage I myself had, because I'm like, okay, I'm in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for 10 years. We're good. Everything is good. But, even though you might be happy or you might be in a successful relationship or not even successful, but trying to make it better, you may still find yourself feeling a lot of blockage around it, right? You may still find yourself like, okay, this is going good, but why this aspect of my life isn't going better? And when you do connect the dots, and when you do that deep work of meditation and reconnecting with yourself, you do realize how everything is interconnected. One bleeds into the other because if you don't find clarity or healing within your past traumas, especially from your childhood, it is very difficult for you to really live a life of success and really security and feeling that you're okay to be abundant and flourish in all aspects of your life. So this is how, I came across Neo-Tantra, thanks to my partner really bringing me here.
So that's brilliant that your partner told you about this, because a lot of us, we end up finding through social media, if it is for singles like me, we just have more information and that's how we got to know it. It's individual journey where people want, I mean, those who want to know more about their body and who want to know more about what power they hold. Tantra is a great
Mhm.
experience. And when you said like, yeah, a lot of our sexuality is misinterpreted, and for women, a lot of us, we have not harnessed the full potential of Kundalini life force. So
Yes. What?
it's going to be really amazing. Fine. So next question: what features draw your focus when it comes to Tantra for women?
You know, let's just go back a bit. Again, I think we need to really break down what Tantra is, right? So, what's the difference between Neo Tantra and Tantra? Is that Neo Tantra is very much involving, as you mentioned, Kundalini and different meditation techniques and getting you deeper with connecting with yourself first before you could connect with someone else, right? So this is exactly these types of practices is what really drew me into Tantra and making me realize there's more to it than what meets the eye, right? For me, the most powerful techniques or the most powerful sessions I had was, as you mentioned, the Kundalini was really amazing because it's like a lot of breath work and really understanding how to use your breath and circulate your breath to help heal parts of your system, but also doing things like the womb massage and the womb, treatment where you don't realize as women how much you store in your womb. You think it's your head, you think it's in your mind because we are overthinkers generally and we have so much going on in our head. We don't sleep at night because we're always thinking, what next, what next? But a lot of that pain and a lot of that trauma that we go through is being stored in our wombs. And when I did that exercise, for me, that was the most releasing thing ever because having had children, one thing, but having lost kids and having had abortions as well when I was younger, I didn't realize how much I was storing in my womb at the time. And I remembered crying profusely during that exercise because a lot of my sexual blockage comes because I have a lot of guilt and I was storing a lot of guilt because of those lost pregnancies and even having birth kids, I still have guilt about my kids not being enough for them, not being there for them enough, not giving them enough, not doing enough, not just being enough, right? And
That
it's
pressure
a
and
pain.
burden that mothers somehow tend to infuse, put it on themselves, right?
Exactly, exactly. And it's a pain that you don't generally connect with because we are so good as women compartmentalizing or not really allowing ourselves to feel the pain because we're always on to the next thing. As you
Yeah,
said, as a mother, as a wife, as a caretaker, even if you're single, you still have so much going on in your life. Your parents you might be thinking about and having to help take care of. So you generally don't spend time connecting with your body to the level that you need to in order to understand what's going on. And it's only after those exercises that I realized how much I was storing inside of me. And, these things often lead to other circumstances where you find yourself getting ill. You may get cancer, or you may, you know, suffering from heart disease or whatever else that your body emanates because you're storing this.
yeah,
So I think
right.
having these types of practices and these types of exercises really help us to release some of that pain we are storing that we don't even know we're storing. So when you ask me what is my takeaway, what were my best exercises, these were it for me. Breath work, Kundalini breath work, as well as doing that womb massage was really important.
Right. And Tantra touch massage is something which I felt women crave the most, uh, because it just brings out that Kundalini life was breathing through your body, and it is also very helpful to feel good with touch and safe with touch, right? Because a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of us women have never felt good or safe with any kind
yes.
of touch methods or even any gesture uh, done by people. So
You're right. And,
understanding that
having
is
Yeah, because having spent some time in India this year, especially, I see, when you live in a society, and even coming from Israel after 20 years, but these societies that are very chauvinistic or patriarchal, you find that they actually women have learned to be submissive so much, or really not allow themselves to connect to that level sexually, that they don't even understand what their bodies are capable of. And you would hear a lot of Western women even still complain about they not being able to have orgasms, or, the sex isn't that good. And, when you do that type of work, you realize it's not really about the other person, it's about yourself, right? So we often put so much like effort on making sure we choose the best partner who know how to touch us and everything. But I always understand after that exercise, you have to teach people how to treat you. So you literally have to know your body first in order to guide a man how to touch you. So you can't expect him to just know how to touch you. You can't expect him to know exactly what to do for you, but you literally have to be responsive and be able to say, hey, I like this or I don't like this. And you would only know that if you go through those level of exercises that connects you with yourself first. So I remember when we did that Kundalini, how, some women will literally have orgasms in the middle of that breath work, right? Because
yeah,
it is such a
agreed.
deep breath work that allows you to connect with all of your being in such a deep way that you didn't even need someone else to touch you. You by yourself was
Exactly.
able to circulate that energy. So
Yeah,
you by yourself was aroused and giving yourself that level of pleasure. And then even being able to touch yourself, in that way and feeling differently after that massage and that breath work rather, you're able to connect in such a deep way. So I think this is why, this level of neo-tantra is so needed,
right.
especially in societies where women have not been allowed to say what they want or really express their sexuality verbally to their partners in a way that seems respectful or is not deemed as a wrong thing to do.
Yeah,
Getting into these neo-tantric practices help them to literally connect, and will help them to understand themselves and their bodies better. So when they do find the partners or when they go back home to their husbands, they're able to communicate in a little bit more clearer way to say, hey, these are the things I know I like now, and this is what I don't like, and this is what I would need to get turned on and to
yeah.
have pleasure in bed with you eventually.
And it's like traditional tantra has more been about meditation and mantra chanting. But in today's day and time, the celestial energy is changing, the cosmic planetary alignments are changing, and it is demanding for something that was traditional tantra. I tried it myself. Like I started with a guru who could teach me that, but somehow it fizzled out and it didn't work for more than a month. My soul was always looking for gurus who are women, and somehow with men I could not I could not take their guidance or something. Then I realized my path is to dismantle and break down the idea of the patriarchal setup which is done with tantra. Just meditating, intense
Yeah.
austerity, that is not the way to go. There is a simpler way to do it, and that is the feminine flow, because feminine is more like that wide open chaotic thing, but that is where it is more easy and fast for us, and that's where neo tantra is doing a great job. by helping us
Yeah.
out, helping women out to really express themselves. So, and yeah,
Yeah.
last 3 days, patriarchy is something big time, which is a theme. I spoke to quite a lot of other people in my classes where we were talking about the very same thing, like how it has shrinked women's expression and their fullness of the vitality to
Yes.
hold. Yeah.
Exactly. You would think, we're in 2025, we have AI here today taking over the world, and we're still talking about these basic issues of women not feeling as they belong and not being able to express themselves and still living in such a life of submission and again, something I have to kind of say as well, after traveling through the Middle East, I went to Dubai recently as well, and seeing those levels of patriarchalness and how women are really not seen in a certain way, but they find themselves being able to express in different ways. But the men, it's almost as if they see you as a woman, almost invisible unless they need you to reproduce for them. But it's a man's world for them. And
In 2025,
in
seriously?
2020, exactly. And especially for a country like Dubai, who is like so open to the world and trying to encourage all of this level of advancement,
Yeah.
you feel it, you see it, you still see that level of it's a man's world there. You don't have the same level of respect, the same level of equality. You still see how women are still, being shy, and I mean, for their culture, it is what it is. It's necessary. This is what they want and they expect of their woman, and it's okay, I guess, for them. But we're in 2025. Can I not have a voice? Can I not dress the way I want to dress and fully express myself the way I choose to express myself? Why is it that we're still in this stage of I have to protect the man, so I need to be respectful of myself so the man isn't offended? Like, where are we living? Like, why doesn't that man have more control or more thing? It's always like they get off the hook because they can't control themselves. So we have to help them control themselves. So if we express ourselves in a specific way and they do something wrong or they react in a negative way towards us, it's our fault. And you're still like battling with that. It's like, why is this my fault? Because you chose to look at me or touch me in an inappropriate way that I didn't appreciate because I chose to have my ankle out. Like my shoulders could not be out for you because this was too sexual. So it's just shocking that thousands of years have passed and we still feel like we're back in the ages of, the Bible, of living in this fear of not
It's,
having these men turned on by us.
but it's crumbling anyway. I mean, a lot of things are crumbling, and it's people are dissecting things what are written in these religious books. But one point I just wanted to ask: in Dubai, people are just free to be who they want and wear whatever they want. Then what is it that you saw something which is still not
Well, that's not true,
respect?
actually. Who's free to be what they want are the tourists, right? So the tourists are allowed to be who they want and act and dress how they want. But the people who live there, the normal Arab woman, yes, there's some of the rich women who would dress like that and stuff, but the regularly day-to-day women, you still see them fully covered. You still see them, dressed and act a certain way among their men, among their path. Like my partner, he's Persian, he's from Iran, he's partly Arabic, right? He's not partly Arabic, he is totally Arabic, but he's Jewish. When he goes there, they look at him like another Arab brother, right? So with me at his side, they can't believe, she's dressed inappropriately. If I have on this dress, for example, with my shoulders out, that's not appropriate, right? So the men are still all dressed in their white garbs and their head covered, and the women are the same. So the native people of Dubai, this is how they dress, this is how they operate day to day.
Mhm.
Dubai has just opened up like a section that says, okay, you tourists go and enjoy this part of Dubai, but still be respectful. There are lots and lots of laws. You can't kiss in public. You can't hold hands in public. Even if you're dressed skimpy, like you can't wear bikini just like that. You have to wear it on specific beaches. So you can't really go around this being whoever you want because they will discipline you. Like one of the things that shocked me one time, I went to the Global Village. And in the global village here, all these countries
Been there.
represented.
Yeah.
Right. So there was a Persian section, and again, they were playing music, and a group of women got up to dance. And there's security, of course, everywhere. And the security went over to them and said, I'm sorry, you cannot dance. And I'm like, what? You cannot dance? So they couldn't dance because there were Arab men sitting in the audience and they were disturbed by seeing these women getting up and dance. So you still have to operate with respect for who they are. You can't just do what you want because you're the tourist who just came for 2 weeks. You still have to live by their laws. So this is always revealing for me that it's not just, have a good time and express yourself, but still live by my rules.
Good you brought this up because we have an idea that Dubai is very open-minded and free, and it's not that, right? It isn't.
And most of the Arab world don't appreciate Dubai's openness to that level, right? So there's still a lot of conflict and a lot of disagreement between them with how Dubai has allowed certain things happening in their country compared to the rest of the Arab countries. So it's tricky, but I brought that point specifically to say that I feel like when I visit Dubai and those places, I went back 1,000 years. I don't feel
Uh,
like the woman that I am supposed to be today, that everybody tells me you have the ability to be who you are, say what you want, express yourself as you wish. You don't feel that in every country and every part of the world you go to. So it's strange that at 2025, we're still suffering in that way. And as a woman, that is, that we still lack full expression. So when you get the opportunity to now go to Tantra and you have these tools and techniques that teach you how to express yourself, you still have to realize when you come out of that and you go into certain parts of your world, you can't do everything as you wish, and you still can't probably live fully expression in full expression of yourself. So it's a
yeah,
double-edged sword, but I don't think it's a reason for us not to delve into it and not to experience it, right?
yeah. And it has a very freeing experience with Tantra, where you can just embrace your body for what it is and completely accept all your body parts and embrace all your body parts. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think Tantra is going to take a little time, because that was the oldest lifestyle which was destroyed, because sexual energy is a very powerful, potent energy. And by all the invasions and all that happened on Earth, a lot of that got lost. So it is taking quite some time to, for us Indians, especially, I see, for us Indians to really accept that Tantra was the most beautiful teachings of all times. And
Yes, yes.
it's taking time to spread the message. So
Exactly.
yeah.
For something like Tantra that was basically almost created, because Kama Sutra and all those things came from the Indian society, right? And you would be shocked to see that you go to India and you still see how people are still closed, right? The women are still not wanting to express themselves fully. And they're the ones who understood this, energy and this language in such a deeper way than most people in the world today. But it's so conservative still, and it's still a society that has this power over women. Like when I was there and I heard things about even your basic law doesn't allow a woman to inherit her father's
Hmm.
assets.
I think now it is
It's
changing, but a lot has to be clarified around that.
my point. But again, as I said, this is 2025. We have AI, and you're still telling me as a daughter of my father, I cannot inherit his assets because you have some archaical law that says I don't deserve, only my brother or the men in my family deserve the assets. Like, where do we live in this time and day and space? And how do even men allow themselves to continue to propagate this? Like, is it the need to have such power over us as women still? Are they afraid of our energy? Sometimes you wonder, because what is it
Definitely
that
they
keeps
are. Otherwise, why would we need so many containers and structures? Feminine
exactly,
energy is
right?
wild.
This is my point. But the sad thing is, again, coming back to Tantra, when you give us the tools to really nurture our energy and express ourselves safely, you benefit as a man. It's not something that is usually lost among you. You, as a man, will get the most out of this and most out of us because of this. But you think suppressing us and keeping us, down and not giving us freedom, not giving us any type of financial equality is what is going to make you have more control. And it's just, again, their understanding of control and wanting that level of control over us is what makes them keep these laws in place. Because for them, it's hard to see that they already have enough competition among themselves as men to have the woman enter that space now and to say, hey, we can actually be as great as you. It's too much for them. So they have to learn to keep us down in one way. But it's just sad that in this day and age, we're still battling that.
Yeah, and I really wish it soon changes, because if they are going to suppress so much of the feminine energy, it's eventually going to explode and be even more wild and dark. So why not start allowing things, bit by bit in the society, in the family, and in the surroundings, and go the better way instead of waiting for the goddess Kali to just disrupt everything. So that's
Exactly, right?
that. Yeah. So in case this link goes off, we can reconnect. Just wanted to let you know on the same link. Okay. So let's go for our third question. What have you noticed and your experiences have been at Tantra retreats in Goa and other parts of the world?
Yeah. So as I said in the beginning, I did not connect with general Tantra retreats outside of, mixed retreats so far because I found it to be very invasive. As somebody who is new to it, I didn't find there was a learning curve of letting me be, allowing me to choose the pace I wanted to join some of the sessions and some of the interactions that I was going to have in a mixed retreat. So that was not the place for me to begin my Tantra journey. But when I found Mohini and Evolved Beings retreats that was women only, this is where I felt safe because I knew I needed to do that type of work. I knew I wanted to explore myself in that level, but I did want a safe container to do it in. I did not want necessarily to be invaded by another man who's there for his sexual prowess and doesn't understand when I say no. Even though in most of those retreats, they try to teach you about boundaries and accepting the no, again, at the end of the day, it's a man, okay? He brings his energy to you, he brings his forcefulness to you. So it's always difficult to balance that as a woman. And, you're in this headspace already where you're trying to open up yourself and allow yourself to be open to any messages or any experiences you want to have. And having that energy in your space could be blocking. So this is why, I enjoy female only retreats. And this is where I always recommend people to start as a woman. Just find those spaces and join them. Again, I highly recommend Evolved Beings. But if you don't close your Evolved Beings retreat, feel free to be in another woman's retreat or, find sisters that you can connect with. For example, yourself, I know you're doing a lot of, massages and, tantra lessons and workshops and things like that. I think these are safe spaces. Find small containers as well where people are doing things and even sometimes you just do it online, right? So at least online you have that distance of space so you don't have people in your vicinity trying to touch you unnecessarily. So these are my recommendations really and what I found worked for me personally. But yes, I say to everyone, find what works for you, but don't give up on it because you had one bad experience. Just try to find the container that matches your energy and what you want to experience.
True. And yeah, even I prefer Tantra women's retreat more because it gives us a lot of we can respect each other's boundaries, and I noticed that there is this peace that comes with it. We don't have to constantly keep feeling that, oh, there is a man looking at us, or worry, like be unnecessarily worried and have that distraction, because for women it is more of a spiritual and emotional level of healing which is required, because so many women have gone through so much of turmoil in their life, right? And
And I think
it's more, it was once told by Osho also. And I did meet another Tantra facilitator in my city. He just finished 15 days before we had our training. So he had Awaken as Love training. And when we spoke about it, he's like, Tantra should be taught by women. He said it. And same was Osho's thing when he also acknowledged that Tantra should be taught by women because they bring something more special with it and more
Yeah.
subtle dignity for this practice.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. You're so, so right. So yeah. But
Yeah,
one thing I just wanted to say as well, I think a lot of people are afraid of women's circles because they think women get catty or there's going to be a lot of, woman energy and, people will not agree and this is going to happen. And I would say that
I would
when,
put it in one straight word that we tend to become more we they would perceive us that we will go very sexually wild.
yes, but even among us as women, we often don't treat our sisters with love totally, right?
Yeah.
So there's always jealousy or something happening or some, like when we were in our retreat, it was expressed. I was afraid to come to this retreat because I didn't think my sisters would be able to hold space for me correctly, that they would treat me in some negative way and I would have a negative experience because this is usually the experience of women outside of, their daily lives in workplace. Who is the person bringing you down? It's another woman. In your life with your sister friends, you're falling out with them because somebody is, ill speaking you behind your back with another friend, or there's
Gossip
always some
culture.
cattiness going on. Exactly. But
The
what I
negative gossip culture. I mean, the good stuff is okay, but
yes, exactly.
it's that.
But I still what I found in the women retreats though, even if that started to rear its head, there was always going to be someone who would be there to bring it back down and to help quell that level of gossip or level of mistreatment because you're not there for that, right? And oftentimes we can't help ourselves as human beings, and we will come into a space bringing our negative energy from the outside there. But again, I would say that you will have a sister who is evolved, who has a little higher thought process going on. So they would be probably the one to come back and say to that person, hey, let's find another way to deal with this. Let's, treat this with love. Let's come from a place of love when we express our feelings instead of, just being negative or just gossiping about it. So I think you don't have to fear. My point is, don't fear about going to a woman-only space if that's where you feel called to because you're afraid of women and you're afraid of your other sisters because you've had negative experiences outside of in your daily life or outside of this. Give it a chance and still allow yourself to come and show up fully and experience the whole orgasm and the whole experience of the retreat because you will miss out if you come with that fear or if you come with that limitation that, hey, I don't want to be around women only. I think we'll find the balance eventually. So don't give up on it because of that fear.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So we'll be going for part two and we will reconnect soon in 5 minutes.
No problem.
Okay.